Hi, this is Chuck from Osprey, and today we're going to touch on the UniEye loss prevention piece. UniEye is available in both Osprey Point of Sale and Osprey Host. The screen fundamentally looks the same, and the functionality is fundamentally the same. The difference simply being that at Osprey Host you can see all of the stores versus just the current store at Osprey Point of Sale. UniEye is located underneath the additional modules menu option under loss prevention under UniEye. UniEye does consist of two pieces, the actual UniEye browser, which is what we're looking at now, as well as the UniEye business rules definitions, which we're going to touch on in a separate video. Upon coming into UniEye, we're going to see a screen showing our business date, which currently is 4/16/2017, the date of our last end of day, which in this case is the same, and then our store. The first thing to notice is if we wanted to change business dates, we could simply come up here and hand key a new business date, or click the drop down to get a calendar, choose our date, and then click refresh. Now in this case, once we've chosen a date and refreshed, we have the current day's sales, current day's items sold, cancels, no sales, customers, and cancel sale amount. In addition, we'll have a little chart down here showing our net sales as well as any canceled and prior sale cancels. Over here in our list box, we have our store, and you'll notice there's an indicator here which shows that we have a broken rule or rules. So if I expand this out, first we'll see the consolidated store report, which is for the entire store. And we have an indicator there showing that we had a rule broken for the entire store. Then for this particular cashier, again we have an indicator showing they broke a rule. And then this cashier has a green check mark, meaning they didn't break any. So if we click first on the consolidated store report, we're going to see cashier and store sales, and in the case of the consolidated store report, these will match. And then we're going to see a listing of the broken rules. In this case, the rule was Rule 2, which was store voids. The rule quantity is set to 5, our actual quantity is 1, so that wasn't broken. But if we scroll over, we'll see that the rule dollars were $25 and there were $59 worth of voids, so that rule was broken. Additionally, our rule percentage was set to 5% of transactions, and our actual percent was 33% based on counts and 17% on dollars. So they would have broken on dollars, on counts, and on they would have broken it on actual dollars and then percentage of dollars and percentage of transactions. So if we actually double click on this rule, it will go out and extract all of the transactions that are relevant to the broken rule and display them in our associated viewer for an XLSX file, and allow us to scroll through them. In this case, it was the single transaction, and it was actually a single item that was voided for $59. If I would have had multiple transactions, they would appear here. Now if I go over to my actual cashier, and again the same thing, cashier voids, the rule's set for 3, there was only 1, so they didn't break it on quantity. The dollars was set for $10 worth of voids, so they broke it on actual dollars. And my percentage was set for 10, which they broke on a count percentage and a dollar percentage. And again, same thing, if I double click on this, it will launch the transaction. In this case, it's the same transaction, as you can see. Now, if I come back up to the top, I had mentioned earlier on the consolidated store report, the numbers will match. Well, up here you can see this cashier. We actually have their sales, their customers, etc., and the stores for comparison. Now this is dynamic throughout the day. So for example, if I close this out and I go back into my point of sale and I were to perform enough of a void on cashier 2 to make them break the rule, then they will suddenly appear on that list. So for example, so I'm going to void off this item here. I'm going to tender this out. Now if I go back into my UniEye, again, our business date is today. So if I expand this out, as you'll see now, employee 2 now has a flag. They broke a rule, and again, they broke it on voids, not on actual quantity, not on actual dollars, and not on dollar percentage. It's only 1.62%, but where they broke it is on percentage count. They're at 50%, and the rule is at 10. So again, if I drill down on them here, I'll see the transaction that caused them, which is this voided item for $5.99, so they had a voided transaction. And if I come back up to the consolidated store and drill down on this, now since both transactions are relevant to the store rule being broken, I'll see them both. There's the original transaction, and there's the second transaction. So that's how the UniEye loss prevention system works within Osprey Point of Sale and Osprey Host.